What's
Boom,
up?
good time
What's
in
up?
Denver.
What's up, everybody? Episode 65 of the Standing 8 podcast. Hey, we got another one. Yeah, everybody know we had a lot of stuff going on, so we're gonna get this cracking and get talking. We got the usual suspect, Courtney Tanner. What's up, man?
How you doing, man? Hey, I just want everybody to please excuse my dour expression, man. It's about 1:03 in the AM. I'm over here in Germany. I'm gonna be over here for the next 6 months or until the end of July. So per the time change, a change of time, I'm just having to do what I have to do. Wake up out of my sleep. But I wouldn't miss this for the world. Would not miss this for the world. It's a very special episode. It's not even. I don't even consider it an episode. It's a celebration. It's a celebration. We got my man hashtag Leyenda Futura, aka Eddie Eldorado Sanchez, getting down with us today. We launched with him, and I'll let you get in the particulars, man. We launched with him a few years back. He's got a major announcement for the listeners, maybe for a lot of the people who tune in and rock with us, but maybe not necessarily all too familiar with with his career and his accomplishments. I'll let you get into that on particulars, but basically, there's a celebration about Eddie, and I'm gonna let you get the listeners the details and the particulars on that, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Absolutely, dude. Eddie Sanchez in the building. Our very, very first guest on episode one. We've been rocking with Eddie since he was in the amateurs, when he went pro, when he hit ESPN, everything, man. So it's been great. And we very glad to have you on, man.
Hey,
How's it
thank you
going,
guys,
man?
man. From day one, man, you guys really. Hey, we're happy, man, out here in a nice sunny day. I mean, over here is 6 o'clock, right? Yeah. So no, I'm sorry. What the heck? Four. I'm going off of your time. It's nice weather. Just enjoying, man, enjoying time with family right now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Out there, Corcoran, California, repping that Cali. Shout out
Yes,
to
sir.
trainer.
Central.
Yes, sir. Shout out to your trainer, Jason Glaspie, as well. Wonderful. We
Yes.
support you guys. You guys have supported us. It's been a family affair from day one, man. So, we'll let you talk a little bit, man, as we look back, in your time while you've been boxing, and let you talk for just a little bit, man. We're gonna give you the floor some.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. Sheesh, man. Well, I just want to thank all of you guys from Corcoran, Lemoore, the Central Valley, my trainer, Coach Jason Gillespie, and Standing 8 Podcast. Every one of you guys, man. Um, Thank you guys for this great support you guys shown me from day one, man. From the day you guys started following me. After the long 13 years of my life in boxing, I decided, man, it was time for me. My family, we all talked about it. It was time for me to hang them up and look into my next chapter in life, which is be there as a father, as a family man to my family, and I'm excited, man. I'm excited to move on forward and take on any challenges in life that I have, just like in the boxing ring, as a challenge, as a fight. But you know, ever since I first stepped in the ring, I give it my all from day one and to the end. I felt like I went and gave it my all as well. So that's the big announcement is that I am retiring from boxing. But I am definitely walking out with my head up high because I felt like I accomplished a lot of things in life or in boxing that I never thought I would in life. I never imagined that I should say uh, 13 years ago if they would have told me that I'll be an amateur champion, national champion, um, that I will be making a professional career out of boxing, that I'll be coming out on ESPN Prime TV, that I will be at the MGM Grand um, fighting uh, I wouldn't have believed it, man. It would have been hard to believe that, and so I'm really happy and blessed that I was able to do every single one of those things. So for me, it was a successful career. Um, but it's time for me to focus into my next challenge, and it's to be a father, to my family.
Absolutely, man. 100%, man. And we have all confidence that that won't even be a challenge for you. For a champion like yourself, man. The heart of a warrior, and the heart of a father that is a warrior as well, man. You got beautiful kids, beautiful family. We know that you're gonna kick ass at that as well, man. And it's been wonderful to see you and root you on, and be watching you on TV, and see you get out there and do your thing, man, and live that dream, man. And it's phenomenal, and it just goes to show that you know you can do what you put your mind to, and those years of dedication, they absolutely paid off, and you have absolutely every right to be having keeping your head held high, 100%, man. Proud of you.
Thank you, thank you guys,
Cool.
man. That's one thing that I have to always I can't stress it out enough that with y'all you guys' support, man. I mean, I wouldn't have made it as far as I had. It was all of you guys that kept me pushing every day from training. I mean, it's gonna go into like why I kind of had to let go of boxing. It's just life was catching up to me. So many things were happening. I was working a lot. I was missing a lot of time with my family, and so But even then, I still gave it my all in training. But it, in my opinion, it wasn't enough to be able to, you know, keep pushing forward in boxing. And one thing for sure, I keep on repeating this to everybody. In boxing, you can't be, and I know you guys know this, you can't be in it 99% in. You got to be 100%. And I just couldn't, it wasn't enough for me, I think.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Got Aaron. Shout out Aaron Sario. He couldn't be with us today, but he is watching and chiming in, and absolutely saying proud of you, Eddie. I'm sure Michael Gomes,
Thank you.
our the partner in crime.
Thank you.
He's absolutely proud as
D-Rock.
well. Yeah, yeah. D Rock, yes
Yep,
sir.
yep, yep. You beat me to the punch on that one, man. So it
All of
can't
you guys.
it can't be a celebration. It can't be it can't be a show without you. About you in essence without them, man. And that's just been the crazy thing about your career. And I tell people, Eddie, is that this endeavor, this movement that we launched we pretty much tied our success on your hinges, man. And we kind of we caught you early in the game. Uh, and in a minute, I would kind of like to ask you, what I'm saying, to recap how we got in contact with you, and that kind of like you coming on and doing that first interview launched us and launched your career. Not even your pro career. You were still deeply involved in the amateurs at that time. But I just tell people, man, if there was ever a story within boxing about how one entity found somebody out there who was just special and just willing to latch their hopes, their dreams, not necessarily about what accomplishments, but just what was good and what was pure in the sport, to somebody and just held them up as that bright shining hope. It was this program, it was this movement to you, man. And you always never hesitated to show us that love, man. So I mean, um, obviously we're gonna rock on. We're gonna continue this movement. Just like you're going to the next level in your life, we're trying to go to the next level in this movement, man. But we just want you to know that our success is always going to be your success, and you are always going to be part of this family, and you are always going to be an
Thank you
originator
guys.
and influencer in this movement, man. Major props, major respect, man. And just major congratulations, man, on a on a career achieved, man. I'm a firm believer, man, that when you endeavor to do something like this, it's not about it's not the wins and losses. the goals, the money that's made, the endorsements, all that stuff like that. That's secondary. If let's if you'd endeavored to start this career and gone on to have an 18-20 year career with multiple titles, won in multiple weight divisions, and the endorsement deals and fighting on Showtime and being like that would have been that would have been it kind of would have been predictable. You know what I'm saying? It would have been prosaic. We've seen, you know what I'm saying? We've seen that before. With us, with us linking to the movement you had going out there in the Central Valley, it was never about that. That was always going to be bonus. The thing is, we wanted to launch this movement with you as you launched your pro career, basically to inspire people, man, and just to inspire people and to show people another side of the game about a prospect out there who really just wanted to endeavor to get in the ring and fight and see where he could take it. And and see where he could elevate people in your area, which and elevate, and to also show the journey that your family and and the people that you grew up with and you came up with were going to go along with you. And I think you obviously did that. And I think we did some justice in being there to chronicle that. So that's something I think everybody who was involved in this, and especially on your end, and especially out there in the Central Valley, can be proud of, and can stand up and cheer and get on their feet and scream for, man. So
Man, you always got.
man, I'm over here getting emotional and choked up, man. You know what I'm saying? But saying many thanks, man. Many thanks for all that, man.
Oh man, you definitely always got the words, man. You always got the words to say, man, and that really hit to heart, man. So I really, really appreciate that, man. You guys are family, man, and I keep on repeating myself, but I wouldn't be able to make it as far as I have without the support you guys have always gave me, man. Thank you guys. Thank you for everything, Courtney. You want to give me leyenda futura. I love that, man, and I kept on pushing that forward, and man, I will, we'll continue to stay in touch, and I'll always support you guys throughout the whole way. And you guys have definitely, you know, been successful yourself, man. Because like you guys said, man, your first, you know, um, your first episode, that you guys, when you guys launched this, and now you guys gone as far as interviewing world champions, and I know like Clarissa Shields and just a lot of people, and then I'm just like, wow, you guys are really, really taking off, and it just feels good that I was a part of that, as far as with how you guys launched everything.
Yeah, man. Hey, none of that happens if you wasn't the first guest. You gave us that first opportunity to have somebody on, man. So it's forever linked, brother. 100% forever.
And to piggyback on that, Eddie, if you could give, saying some of our viewers and some of our listeners some background and some context, like how, saying, basically recount it for us. Like, how did you get involved with this?
If I remember clearly, it was my friend Arnie. Arnie had mentioned to me about a boxing group, and then he was like, they're very, you know, because Coach Jason, he's like, we call him like an encyclopedia for boxing, so like this will fit just for you. And so that's how I remember. We got in touch with was with because of Arnie Caballeros. I know he's another pound for pound member.
Shout out to Arnie.
And yeah, that's how. I think the first person I connected with was Aaron, if I'm not mistaken, but I could be wrong, but I remember from there, um, we just connected, and then you guys have always been very freaking cool with me, man. And so we linked, we clicked right away. And what was the first fight you guys might have seen me fight? Man,
We were there. We were
I
there
don't know.
for your profession.
But
Well, I know personally. I was there for the professional debut. I know, obviously, shout out once again to Arnie Cobb, and he, I know he's been there for, he's kind of like the OG of this as far as being there.
yeah.
Say for the ride. But I remember your professional
Right on,
debut
yeah.
in Fresno at Tower Theater.
Oh,
I rode out there
oh
when I
man,
was living. I was living in New Mexico at the time. I know that Aaron Sorial, he rode up from LA, from the LA area where he lives, and he brought
Yep.
shout out to Devon McLaughlin, the big homie, another alumnus the
Yep.
pound for pound movement. And then from there it was just on, man. It was a very loose, cobbled together plan, but you showed love, as you always did, and sent us free tickets to your fight. um and I just remember it was crazy because I know you sent me and Aaron Sorial both tickets in the mail, handwritten letters, just thanking us for the support on the podcast, and basically just imploring us to come out to the Central Valley and to go check you out up there. And for me, when I got that in the mail, man, I was just like, yo, there's no question, I'm going, absolutely. Um, and I know Aaron was
Yeah.
he pretty much had the same sentiment on that. But I know it was a surprise because Devon McLaughlin, he was living out of Denver at the time, and he had basically his first day coming from Denver to the LA area. Um, Aaron Storial picked him up at the Greyhound station. He has his bags. He's going from the Greyhound station, getting in somebody's car, going all the way up to Fresno, to see you fight, man. And he didn't have a ticket. And so remember, we got there later in the evening, and tickets on the street, man, were selling for 200. As far as Libby, I was just like, wow, that's when the gravity of this event hit me, man. It was just like, yo, there was no more tickets in the box office, and people who had a ticket, they were selling, they were selling for 200, to start with. That's how bananas it was trying to get in the Tower Theater to see you rock out on this pro debut, man. And you weren't the only fight going, man. There's other people who had already fought professionally or whatever. But I was like, damn, this guy is the main event. In a historic venue like the Tower Theater in Fresno. Fresno is not a small city. You know what I'm saying? It's the fifth largest city in California. So like it was just crazy to see people lining the streets to get in to go to this. Um, you know,
No, man.
a lot of people might not notice, might not recognize that I'm from a similar geographic area as to Eddie. Eddie's from the Central Valley. I'm from the Central Coast of California. So with that connection, I'm standing in line. This guy asked me where I'm from. I tell him I'm from Santa Maria, California. He says he has an extra ticket that he'll sell me for $20. And I remember that being the most instant come up we could have had in that situation. We squared Devon away, and we all got in, man. Had great seats. Devon, he was kind of the nosebleed section, but he was just happy to have gotten in for a reasonable price. And we were there, and we were able to see you do your thing, man. Everything from the ring walk to the actual performance, where you got that knockdown in the first round. Walked out the people. It was a 50-50 crowd. The guy you were fighting, he was making his pro debut. He brought a good portion of the crowd. There was people booing you, coming into the walkout. By the time that the fight ended and the decision got announced, everybody in that theater was standing up and cheering for you, man. It was one of those just a surreal experience, like a movie, man. It's to get there with all your fans, all the people from the organizations, the foundations that came out to support you, from your mom, your wife, and your young kids that were there. It was just crazy, man, and being able to pirate that ESPN interview where and just getting the exclusive on you, man. It was the whole situation. It was just bonkers. It was just bananas. You can tell my face changes when I talk about it, man. That was I would say that for me, being on the other side of this in boxing, covering boxing, as a pundit, that was my greatest moment within the sport, man. And that's a story. That's a story that's your story, and whenever I tell that story, I recognize that I'm always going to tell you your story in telling that, man.
Man, no, definitely, man. I'm like so happy you guys were a part of that. That my debut, man. That's definitely one of my life memories I will always hold, man. It's just one of the best performers I ever had, one of the best shows I ever had, and I'm glad you guys were a part of that. That definitely was a freaking rocking day, man.
Definitely, definitely. Eddie, so I mean, with this being a celebration, man, this being all about you, man. Are there any more individual shout outs you want to give, man, to the
Yes.
people who might be watching, man? I know there's a lot of people out there who are backing you, a lot of people who have given full support and thrown full weight behind your career out there, man. You know what I'm saying? Just hey, just consider this your time, man. You know what I'm saying? This for you to speak to the people, man, and any and everybody that you want to.
Yeah, man. I mean, I got so many people that I'm like, I don't want to single nobody or I don't want to leave nobody out. But, to off top, man, that I know I got to give huge thank yous. Like I said, Coach
Hey,
Jason,
you got time,
he's been
man. Go ahead and do that.
he's been a great friend. And I've always told him he's been a father figure in my life. So I owe him a lot for, all we've accomplished, man. I mean, I was his first amateur fighter. I was his first professional fighter. And we definitely did a lot in our careers. And so I owe him a lot for that. Coach Eric Shankenko, one of my strength conditioning coach, he was with me for a very long time as well. Um, we can go to Ryan, Coach Ryan. We got my wife, absolutely, because you know throughout my whole amateur and pro career, she's been a part of it as well, and not once did she ever, feel give me any hard time for all the times that I was away from training, and just all the time I would be away from home. So her, my kids, I mean everybody, man, everybody from Corcoran. I keep on saying just Corcoran, Lemoore, Central Valley. My mom, she's been a huge supporter, man. She be rolling around, like around town with a huge picture on her car of me. Just it just shows how it just shows how much support she's always had for me, man. So man, there's so many people that I wish I can give you guys all individual hugs and thank yous, man. But you guys know, all of you guys know, STS podcast, all these guys that also give me a lot of love and support. I mean, man, can't think too many people right now. I got caught up. But
Man,
man,
yeah.
I mean, just thank you all, man. It's really been a great journey.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Man, hey, as always, dude, we got nothing but love, support, and lifelong friendship for you, man. Big family thing, man. So, if you want, man, you are absolutely welcome to stick around and kick it with us, and we can talk about a little bit of things that's been going on in boxing lately. We got a couple. We definitely want to
Yeah,
talk about Oscar Valdez and Miguel Berchelt. We're gonna talk about the WBC super featherweight match that we saw recently. 10th round knockout. That Courtney, man, hey, that fight was insane.
Hey,
Valdez,
man, I'm over here doing this one, man, wiping the proverbial egg all over my face, man. Like forced to do it, man. But not I can't even be mad about it, man. Just because of
right?
the way Oscar Valdez went in there and rocked out, man. That was like I guess anybody who knows me knows that I was not only predicting that Berchelt was going to win that, I was predicting that Berchelt was going to go in there and beat him bad. I thought Berchelt was going to. I didn't even think it was going to be close. Like I know there was a lot of people who were hoping for that to be the next in, the reincarnation of Eric Morales, Barrera.
Mm,
Some of those great Mexican rivalries that we've seen in the sport, and I was saying no. I was like, I think Berchelt is going to go in there and do the business and do a job on Oscar Valdez, and the complete opposite of that happened, man. And the result of the fight was great, exciting. It was entertaining. As far as being a good fight though, like a good matchup or whatever, like Oscar Valdez went in there and made Berchelt look like he didn't even belong, wasn't even worthy of being in the same ring with the man, and that was the surprising thing because we know Berchelt is no punk, so Berchelt goes in there and is a true Mayan Aztec warrior in there, man, ready to go to war at any and all times, man, and we've seen him do it, man, and for him to end it like that to where the knockout was so emphatic, we now are left with concerns about his long term health and long term viability in the sport, man. Never thought I would see it. Never thought I would see that, and never thought that Oscar Valdez would be the one to lay that type of shellacking on somebody, man. But definitely, definitely, and you have to you got to give props to Oscar Valdez. Um, for basically going out there and define the odds. Because like I'm not the only person that had to wipe the egg on his face. I'm not the only person who had an opinion or who had a prediction to offer in that fight who was wrong. And the vast majority of people who did weigh in saw that fight going, you know, the opposite way of the actual result and how it turned out, man. But but definite props to Oscar Valdez. Definite props to Eddie and Chef Reynoso, in that camp who brought him along and got him to peak at just the right time, and we saw the result of that in the ring. Um, it was basically Oscar Valdez left Manny Robles his
Hmm.
gym and his stable at a time when a lot of people were jumping ship and a lot of people were kind of a lot of people who were at the height who were at their height and at their prime, particularly also Ryan Garcia as well. It's rare that you see people leaving a gym, leaving a trainer when they're winning. What I'm saying? And they're still
Yeah.
at the at the early stages. Their trajectory is still what I'm saying going up like this. But I think Oscar Valdez and Ryan Garcia they made that jump, not necessarily because there was anything going on with that gym as far as the negative. They just basically jumped on an opportunity to where they saw they could get to another level that they weren't headed towards. Um, and to do that, that takes a lot of sacrifice in that point in your career, because we've seen Oscar Valdez and we've seen Ryan Garcia make some changes stylistically, um, and with Oscar being of those two, Oscar, we've seen with the three fights that he's been with Eddie and Chavo Reynoso. Um, there's been some question marks, basically. What I'm saying, with the level of competition and how there was times that he kind of looked shaky going in to that. So I mean, I think that for me, that was a big factor in why I made the prediction that I did. But yeah, like I said, wrong. It was like wrong. But um, had a thorough, decisive victory, man. Um, in that, and on the other side of that, with Burchell, also got to offer thanks and prayers that he's going to be okay, and it looks like he's
Yes.
going to continue on with his career. I know. I was watching it, and I was just praying. I was like, God, please let this man get up. Like, what I'm saying, like for real, for real. Because it looked very shady and very sketchy for a minute, man. With him, the way that he went down, the position that his body was laying on the canvas. Um, but now with him getting up with that from that and him being okay on that end, you really have to examine and really have to question what was going on in his corner, and with his training, to where he followed Oscar Valdez around in a straight line, and was really off his kilter, man, was off his game. Because that was the surprising thing is we know that before then, we know that Oscar Valdez could be the brawler, could be the head-on guy, and we knew that Berchelt could box a little bit. It had some skill, it had some footwork. It had even though Oscar Valdez is coming to a two-time Olympian, coming in with that sort of background, but we've also seen Berchelt had some acumen, as far as being able to move, being able to box, and being in with some, when you look at their careers on paper head to head, you can say Burchetta beat some pretty skilled guys. at that 130. Um, so just not even the result being flipped to where a lot of people thought it was, but the basically stylistically, these guys came in and showed us something completely different than what we thought we were going to come in the ring with. That was crazy, man. That was a crazy fight. That was a crazy result. Um, but that's why we watch boxing. That's why we love it, man. And that's why we celebrate those momentous fights, and hopefully we just see momentous results no matter which way they turn out, man. So once again, shout out to Oscar Valdez. Congratulations, and I can't wait to see what 130 is going to be hitting for now, man. With him holding the green scrap, man, and I definitely want to see Berchelt return to form. But if not, just definitely happy that he's going to be okay and he's able to go back to his family.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Aaron. As he said, Oscar getting back with Eddie Reynoso was a good move right there, man. And he came in there looking crispy, looking sharp, had a wonderful game plan, and executed flawlessly the whole entire fight. One thing that I did see, shout out to Anthony Stack Saldana, shout out to Jamel Herring. I saw them talking and chatting about what kind of happened with Berchelt, after weigh-in. So everybody saw after weigh-in, he started down in fruit and everything. But yes, but after that, 2 large Hawaiian pizzas, which you already know where you get.
Pineapple does not belong on pizza. It just doesn't, man. we have proof, America. We have proof, world. Pineapple does not belong on pizza.
2 large Hawaiian pizzas. And that man came in sluggish, man. He didn't look like himself. And as Courtney said, man, just very glad that the ending of that fight turned out with him being able to not only get up but be okay. Because that knockout, it was very Pacquiao-esque. As far as the shock value and the way that it happened, how out he was, and needing to be stabilized in the way that he did, man. So that was a phenomenal victory for Oscar Valdez. Eddie, what do you think? Did you get to see the fight? What tell us your thoughts on that fight, man?
Yeah, no, I mean, shoot, I've been a huge fan of Valdez for quite some time now, man. And I wouldn't say huge, but I've been a fan of Valdez for quite some time. So I got to say, I was rolling with him, but I wasn't expecting the way he what turned out to be. I think like you said, man, him moving with Eddie Reynoso really showed some improvement this time, because I believe whenever he had that injury with I think it was a jaw broken or something, like, he switched up his style where he was trying to be more of like a boxer, I guess you could say, instead of that aggressive hard punching do that he always was. And then this time I think he finally became that hard punching boxers, because his head movement was really good, man. I was impressed by his head movement and his punch selection. He did a lot of check hooks and stuff like that. I was really impressed with all that. But I do believe too, the same how you guys are saying, just that Berchelt, he made it all good, because man, after the 4th round when he got dropped like that, I mean, he was getting tagged with everything that Valdez wanted to land, So I was really impressed with Valdez, and I'm excited. I think he really grew to 130 now, legit, because I know too, when he had his first 130 fight, he didn't look that devastating. The power that he had it didn't look like he brought it with him, and now he definitely grew into 130, I think.
Yeah, man, and
crazy show.
Yes, sir. And so, with that victory, what's next? Are we gonna see Shakur and Valdez? I think that will be an amazing fight for us to get, and I think that they're both in the same stable. We can make it happen.
I think that's
man, that'll be amazing fact.
Definitely. I think that's a matter of when as opposed to if. With them
Right.
both being them both being on Top Rank, them both fighting on ESPN, and just the demand from the public that seeing that fight between Shakur Stevens and Shakur Stevenson and Oscar Valdez, where I have the unpopular opinion is that I think Shakur Stevenson is going to. I think ultimately he's going to enforce his right to basically fight the winner of Jamel Herring and Carl Frampton. I think he's going to jump on that first, and he's going to want to go into that fight with a belt. Um, as you know, so basically, that fight is going to be a unification pairing the WBC and the WBO straps on. I think that's the best business move that could be made. As far as Top Rank looking to promote that fight and ESPN looking to air the fight. Am I mad if it happens immediately? If because I know that Oscar Valdez basically called Stevenson out because Stevenson has been calling him out and saying his name in social media, and so he turns to the camera and just says, "Hey, I know Shakur Stevenson wants to fight me. Let's go." So if that's one of those things where they get in immediately, I think that's all to the good. I think there's no right or wrong way to do this. Whether they fight next or whether they unify in the future. I think the only snag that can happen is if Shakur Stevens gets upset. But yeah, man. I mean, even in that scenario, if that were to happen, I mean, you can't. It's a train you can't stop from rolling. You know what I'm saying? These two are going to meet at some point, somehow, some way down the line.
Yeah, man. I think it's gonna happen, and like you said, it's not if, it's when. So we look forward to that. Hey, Eddie, I know that you got your battery life running low, man. You got to get ready to jump here. Hey, one thing, I'm gonna put this back up here, man. Shout out to Ken Davis. You had that great bout with Ken Davis. He hopped on here, man. He said, "Don't hang him up, Eddie. Get to 130 and go far." So that's wonderful. Seeing somebody that you share the ring with hop in here and shout you out and love it and love you, man. So that's wonderful. So again, shout out to Ken Davis, man. But we know you got to jump, man.
Good fight, brother. Hey, man, that's one of the in my life, man. That's a dream come true for me to fight out there at the MGM Grand, and it was an honor to share it with you, man. But yeah, man, thank you guys once again, man, for all your support, man. I can't thank you guys enough, man. God bless you all.
Yeah, man. Likewise, man. Thank you. Nothing but love, bro. Appreciate you.
All right, guys. I'll catch you later, man.
All right. Eddie Sanchez, everybody.
Hey, shout out to Ken. Yeah, shout out to Ken Davis, man. Hey, that was a nice touch, man. That was really cool, man. Thank you so much for rocking with us.
Yes, sir. Absolutely, man. Wonderful having him chime in and root Eddie on. Great stuff. All right, let's we just got done talking about what was going to be coming next for Valdez, a possible matchup with Shakur Stevenson. So let's get into some other things here. Let's see. We got the Canelo fight. Canelo. I mean, let's just go ahead and just talk about that. Go. Yeah. It wasn't much.
Hey.
What? It was what we all expected. It was either going to be a KO or a TKO. We saw what we got. Yildirim was not game for what was about to happen. Canelo came out looking super, super crispy, and he was looking like lunch. What you got, Courtney?
This is one of those fights. It pisses me off, man, because anybody who knows me knows I am an advocate of the mandatory system, man, and I'm a firm believer that these guys should fight their mandatories. They shouldn't face, they shouldn't get the slack or the flack for doing so, because I think,
Yeah.
if you look at the majority of champions in the sport, they are a result of being in a mandatory position and them getting their shot. You know what I'm saying? So I think, that should continue on, and that should basically, we as fans, we shouldn't shout that down. We shouldn't get in the way of those fights happening, or just deadpanning those fights, because we don't necessarily know the name of the other person
Mhm.
who's on the other end of it. Because the thing is, if you're a name and you're in that prospect category, that contender category, we already know inherently you get pushed by the organizations faster than somebody who is, say, in Eddie Sanchez position, coming from the ground up, and fighting a career, but you do have those guys who basically who start from scratch, who go from the ground up, and who do get a title, who do get a title shot. And I think those people in that mandatory position, they need to be, those shots, those fights, they need to be made. Those positions, those mandatory positions, they should be honored. Um, when you have a mandatory like Avni Yildirim, and you have a very commercially viable fighter like Canelo Alvarez, who is destined for greatness, for legendary status, and who has people in his sights and in line that the fans are emphatically shouting for him to go and face. And he kind of takes a pit stop along the way of that and risks a future and risks his health, to fight, to basically to fight is mandatory. We're not even gonna delve too deeply into the Avni Yildirim, who is he fought to deserve,
Yeah.
or who is he
Right.
beat to, he's basically getting a mandatory position off looking good in a loss. But when you have, when you have a situation like we saw last night, and the guy basically shrugs it off and says, Eddie, hey, let me get my check, big.
Man, hey,
that
when the corner,
that pisses me off, man. That makes that makes pundits like me look bad, because when people are just like, man, when you have a lot of mainstream or casual fans saying, forget this shit, man. We want to see him fight. We want to see Canelo fight this person, this person, this person, and then
Mhm.
it's like remix. He's fighting who? You know what I'm saying? And then somebody other me is like, hey man, I swoop in with the proverbial cape on, and it's like, hey man, hey, kick back. That's the mandatory. He's on, he's doing the honorable thing. He's being a proper champion. He's
Right.
facing his mandatory. Woo, 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 woo. Hey, y'all, just chill. And then
And then that shit
you
happened.
see that, and that basically that's a fight. That's a fight that basically takes credibility away from the whole notion, that mandatories, they do matter, and they should be fought, man. But I think if anything, we need to examine, who these organizations are putting up legitimately as the mandatories, and basically their rating system of how they're how they're designating who gets to be the mandatory, because basically this guy was a flea on Canelo's ass for the past 2 years in a mandatory position, and I think the world is left to wonder how.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, Aaron with the jokes here. He said Canelo and Jay Balvin probably had a bet on whose performance would be shorter, and pretty much Canelo had the shorter performance. Hey, Jay Balvin, he got out there. They did their little
Hey,
concert,
hey,
that plus the walk in. Hey, he had more time out there than Canelo did.
hey, shout out to my man Philip Medina, aka the Hater.
Ah,
Basically, I remember a few months back he said anybody who bought the Jay Blavin meal from McDonald's could basically get out of his life, man. So hey Phil, hey man, if you're watching this, man, we hope you remain we hope you remain involved in the sport, man. I know that was probably hard for you to swallow, but we hope you still continue to rock with boxing after that, man.
Yeah.
But I thought the ring walk was hot. It was like I don't think that was one of Jay Blavin's best jams, but I felt it. I got what he was trying to do, man. All right, cool. Hey, cool.
Hey, shout out to that dude that was on the bike that almost bit it all the way right in the middle of the performance. I was like, oh shit, son. Like, hold on, man. That wasn't bland. Hey, but back to the fight though, man. Like when that third round ended, his corner was telling him, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna give you one more round. After 3 rounds, I'm gonna give you one more round. And I'm stopping it. And then they stop it. So I'm sitting here watching the fight, and I'm like, all right. So they just basically threatened him with one more round. And what did he do? He had to like buck up and be like, well, stop it then. Like, damn, dude.
I think it amounted to like he was like, oh, okay, and then and Joel, man, he is dating back to when he was cornering for Timothy Bradley.
Yeah,
you know, saying a lot of those times those be threats in order to motivate.
Right?
Because if you look at that fight that Timothy Bradley fought against Provodnikov, where Timothy Bradley was basically out there fighting this dude in a concussed state. And was being, and had a corner who was threatening to stop the fight for like 5 or 6 rounds of that fight. I don't even think Timothy Bradley comprehended with stopping the fight. I don't even think he was there mentally to comprehend. It's like, all right, to process that threat, man. So I think Joel has garnered a reputation for threatening to stop a fighter, to go in there and make them like listen. In essence, and get back on the game plan, get back on the stick or whatever. I think Yildirim kind of called that bluff, man. It was like, oh, Rick, because like I was in the fight thread, and I was just like, oh shit, we got the Joel Diaz, the classic Joel Diaz threats. You know what I'm saying? I was like, all right. So usually, with these other fighters, when we see that, they usually come out and they got a little more, so they got a little more bounce, they got a little pop, they got a little more stick. They got a little more, they put a little more on the head movement. They just look a little better, And I was like, all right, man, this probably we're gonna go out there and we're gonna see Yildirim. We're probably gonna see him on stick. We're probably gonna see him try to make some effort to employ what was worked on in training camp or whatever. Because Yildirim, he was kind of showing some chin. Nah, he wasn't. Let's be real.
No,
he wasn't. I forgot I was live.
Yildirim was in that corner. Yildirim was in that corner. Like, I've been waiting on you.
We count on that. Okay, let's be real. But I thought he was going to go in there and make some effort to basically, to make the act of going out on his shield a little bit better, man. But it was one of those things. It's like he was like, I don't know if it was a language barrier in the corner or whatnot, but it was just like, okay, you ready to go? And after he was just like, yeah, it was just like, so yeah. I think the fashion of that stoppage surprised the shit out of a lot of people. Like I said, the figurative word being the fashion of that. I think most people, myself included, were expecting at the end, as far either Yildirim being put to sleep, clocking off the job early, or like a scenario where he was going to be saved from himself by either the corner throwing in the towel or the ref jumping in and waving it off. But dude quit on himself.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I figured that it was gonna be some sort of TKO. That's what I rode with. But yeah, that I wasn't thinking it was gonna be in the corner. I didn't think he was gonna tell the corner, hey, I've been waiting on you. Let's go. So shame on that. And I mean, all we can say is Canelo looked sharp.
I mean, the first thing that came to my mind was just like, damn, Canelo's wasted a whole training camp, bro. Like, because I don't think people comprehend. When you're at Canelo's level, when you're at the the pro level, where you hold multiple titles, you have a network contract, you're getting paid millions of dollars in purse money or whatever. But a training camp is that shit costs money. It's like,
yeah,
what I'm saying? Because basically in the train, especially in this COVID era where, you have to take extra precautions and you pretty much have to go in a bubble, and, person have to be tested, things have to be sanitized or whatever, man. That prospect of going into a full-fledged training camp, in order to enter another bubble, basically have a bubble in order to enter another bubble, in order to enter the ring. That's a very exhausting, time-consuming, and heavily monetized process now.
yeah.
And so I'm thinking dollars and cents, man. I'm just thinking like, damn, like you did all that just for.
It's almost like he's so we know we saw reports already that we did see the announcement at the end of the fight where they announced that he was going to be fighting Billy Joe, but we had already heard that it was already out there that they said as long as you win this fight and don't have an injury. So it's almost like Canelo had his ego out there, like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna take this fight anyway. And I'm gonna go ahead and start training now, and I'm just gonna use this as partial training camp for when I come and whoop your ass.
Yeah, maybe that was part of the training camp.
Like it was a whole flex move. Like he's like, go ahead, line this dude up. And we all know you're not supposed to count out your current opponent. He completely counted his ass out. Like completely. He's like, all right, I got my next 2 fights lined up. Like, damn this one. I got this whole year lined up. Like, all right, let me knock this dude out, get him out of there. And I'm coming back on for a Cinco de Mayo weekend, May 8th, Billy Joe Saunders, September, Caleb Plant.
And
like,
they're already talking about Christmas, man. You know what I'm saying? They're already talking about December, whether it's going to be the trilogy with Triple G, or it's going to be Gilberto Ramirez, or it's going to be David Benavidez. Like, damn, bro. Like they've got the man's whole year like mapped out, man. But I'll tell you, man, if he can go 4 to 5 times this year in this COVID era,
yeah,
push that to the side in this modern era in boxing. Wow, man! Like that's gonna be something that's absolutely bananas if he can go 4 to 5 times this year.
Yeah. And we got Aaron, with the comment here saying, assuming that he beats Billy Joe Saunders, would you think he'll move up to try to fight and face Beterbiev at this juncture? He doubt that Caleb Plant will be the fight.
I don't know. I don't know. I think I think what we've heard on Caleb Plant's end is that he's definitely keen to take that fight. With Canelo being a promotional free agent and being a network free agent and doing everything that he did to extract himself from his previous deal with DAZN and his previous contract with Golden Boy, I think it's one of those. I think it's one of those things where Canelo was definitely sincere about talking the talk, man. As far as being the first Mexican fighter to be undisputed and uniform all 4 belts in this 4-belt era in the division. The first, and to be the first Mexican fighter to do it, and to do it at 168. A weight division that's not even. If you look at the history of 168, it's not, first off, for a Mexican fighter to do what he's doing at this level, this high on the scales, in a division that's for the most part, the most part of the history of 168 has been a very Eurocentric division. If you look at the history, the most notable people in this division have been guys that were named Chris Eubank, Nigel Benn,
Mm-hmm.
Steve Collins, Carl Froch, Joe Calzaghe. Yeah, and recently, you had Roy in there for brief spurt. You know what I'm saying? You had Ward, do you know what I'm saying, do his thing recent, recent history with the Super Six. But
Mm.
I mean, if Michael Kessler, you know what I'm saying, guys like that, a few guys from the former Soviet bloc and Russian fighters. So if you look at if you look at the overall picture of 168, that's pretty much been dominated by outside of North America. Um, but you know what I'm saying, then we have a few Americans do their thing, and the American, you know what I'm saying, particularly the last American that really did his thing in 168 is a Hall of Famer in Andre Ward.
Which
We know
which which what we see it right here. Hey, and we got a number of people that's saying it. Word on the street. Ward might come out of retirement to get
Yep.
that Canelo check and really test his nuts. You know what I'm saying? And Ken Davis, shout out Ken Davis, shout out to Clarence McClain. They all saying it. Aaron saying he heard it as well. That would give us something.
Yeah.
That would give us something right
But
there.
yeah, you got that, basically you got that kind of canvas that's been painted, and Canelo is aspiring to do what he's doing at this at this point. I think that speaks volumes. I think Canelo will leave no stone unturned.
Mm-hmm.
Now, saying with Plant, the only real hindrance I see with Plant is the Al Heyman factor.
Yep.
But the thing, Al Heyman kind of gets villainized when these fights don't go off. But I mean, I think if there's anybody who can guarantee, if there's any promotional entity or any manager or advisor, anybody, a moneyed figure in the game that can deliver their fighter, and deliver on a platform, it is Al Heyman. So I mean, I think it's going to be one of those things. I think they probably already entered into negotiations on that. And I think I think Caleb Plant is probably being touted as the opponent for September as forcefully as he's being, because they've already made some entente in the negotiations or into an agreement with it was Showtime, CBS, Al Heyman, and Plant's team. And Plant, every time he's had a camera in his face and is asked about Canelo, there's really no indications on his part that talking about, well, I got to get this percentage of the cut, or, well, we got to do it, saying in these terms or whatever. Plan is always just like, yeah, I'm ready to go.
Yep, let's do it.
Yeah, I want to fight Canelo. So that's why I'm pretty confident that fight's going to happen. But nothing's been signed. Saying there's an opponent in between that and September and where we are now. That's a long way away. So we'll see. But I mean, I think I think we will see. I think we will see Plant in September, and I think the big question is who we see in December, or if we see another fight in December, and who that'll be against. In regard to Aaron's question, though, better Biev or whatever, I think I think it's inevitable. I think we will see Canelo go back, make another foray into 175. I don't think it's going to be better Biev off top. I think I think if we see him go back up to 175, it's going to be a Joe Smith, or if he should win a belt, or whoever's going to win between that fight that he's got coming up, or Dimitri Bivol, who is with Eddie Hearn, who is on the zone, and who is basically coming back, and who Eddie Hearn has said he's basically coming back to make a splash. And there's also Gilberto Ramirez, who Gilberto, who just signed with Golden Boy, and who and Golden Boy, they're exclusive on the zone, and he says he's willing to he's a former champ at 168. He basically he made history in that division before Canelo did, being the first Mexican to win a belt at 168. So, and he said, he's willing to do some things and get another strap at 175. Um, so, I mean, the options, the options where what could, what's next beyond the goal of making unifying all four belts at 168. Those possibilities are numerous. Um, the possibilities of what could happen if we don't see a fight between Canelo and Plant materialize are numerous. That I think that's why Canelo is, or if he's not, needs to be a lot of people or everybody's favorite fighter at this point, man. Because if you look at his mentality, if you look at what he's out here saying that he's going to do and that he's trying to do, and just the fashion in which he is intent about going about doing it, that's why he's clear cut the most exciting fighter out there. That's why he's clear cut the number one fighter, at least in terms of um, of visibility, out there. And that's why I personally think that Canelo is great for boxing at this point, man. Because you look at all these options and they're all viable. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing he's really saying no to as far as what's in his way or what's on the horizon. Better BF though, that name is not floated by that camp though.
Mm-hmm.
Saying I really don't think you're gonna feasibly hear Canelo open his mouth and say Better BF's name. I guess because and I think that was talked about with the on the commentary on the DAZN card.
Mm-hmm.
As far as what is Canelo gonna have to do to get his respect, and they're saying probably go up to 175 and fight Better Biev. He's not, Canelo just had, to me in my eyes, he hasn't grown. He hasn't grown to that yet. You know what I'm saying? He has. I think big fights at 175 can be viable. I predicted that a long time ago that Canelo would be viable up to 175. I just think he's going to have to continue to grow into that, though. You know what I'm saying? He's getting to the point where he's peaking in his abilities and in his skill set, and I think 168 is where his body needs to be right now. But that jump between 168 and 175, where at 175 you're fighting guys that walk around at easily 200 pounds on the street. That's a very tall prospect. And if you look at how he dispatched or how he dealt with Kovalev, there was some challenges that he had in that fight. You compound that with a guy like Beterbiev, who is on his, who's completely on his A game and who is not dealing with the level of distractions that Kovalev was dealing with when he came to that fight.
Mm-hmm.
That's a result that could turn on his heel and get very nasty. So I think I think that's a tree that Canelo is not looking to go barking up at this point right now, especially when he's got the options that he's got, and he's got the stated goal that he's got at 168. But I think it can happen. I just I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. So.
Yeah, I feel like and there's, as you said earlier, like from the fanatic side, people want you to fight like this specific person, that specific person, this specific person. Like they want to dictate who you fight in the career in order for the masses to be happy. What this dude is doing is phenomenal. Like the dude's resume has been Hall of Fame for years already. When we come off of, him basically taking over the Mayweather sweepstakes, like look what he's doing with it. There's so many people that had so many complaints about how Mayweather handled, that diva level and being able to have all of those choices to make him pick pretty much whatever fights he wanted to, and they be big major fights. Look what Canelo's doing, man. Like he's still going out trying to make like solid history, and he's still taking on very game guys. It's not he's picking the Canelo weights anymore, or he's trying to pick people that are on their last leg or anything like that, man. Like this dude is going out here and he's just making people look pedestrian. Like that, the dude is that damn good. He's great. He's great. Come up on 60 fights. Like it is insane. And at this point, it's like we said earlier, it's like now the challenge for him is kind of like ego flexing past his opponent to the next people. And
Yeah.
yeah, like it's almost like boring to him now. Like, all right, well, let me think 3 fights out and like start talking about all of this and make this whole elaborate plan for how this is going to go and then go do it.
Yeah.
And challenge himself that way because he's not getting challenged in the ring. Maybe the whole Ward, maybe that ends up being the next Cinco de Mayo fight. Maybe this is something where it's just starting to get talked about now, and then he goes through, the latter portion of this year, and boom, here comes the whole build up for this mega fight, Cinco de Mayo or some shit like that. Like, who knows, man? But I'm excited to see what happens this year, how many fights he does get in, and what he does with taking back these major pay-per-view dates, because it's gonna be some fireworks either way it goes, if it's 3 rounds or more.
Yeah. This is my take on the Ward fight, man. I promised, I promised you a take on this earlier, man. Do I honestly, do I legitimately believe it's going to happen? No, I really, I think Ward makes some very cryptic statements.
He is.
I think Ward is a very passive aggressive, because I've said it repeatedly. Floyd loves that attention. Floyd just can't go away. Every time there's a big fight, saying on the horizon, Floyd's name, saying Floyd will inadvertently be like, yo, I'm trying to fight this person, or I'm trying to do an event. Yeah, it was like, yeah, I'm gonna come back.
Got an exhibition for
yeah, exactly. Say, yeah, I'm a fight an exhibition in Timbuktu. I think on the other side of that, though, I think Ward makes some he did some very subtle, very passive aggressive type flex that kind of dip his, to put his name out there, but then when he comes back to him and he's just like, well, no, I never said that. Y'all just assume that. But okay, yeah, you did, but you did it, you did it in a way where it was just open form for people.
Yeah, you left the door open.
Because it's the thing, you've been gone for, 3+ years. Nobody believes you're really retired yet, right? Like, you're doing this thing, you're posting these videos on Instagram where you still, you still look in amazing shape, you still have a very keen boxing acumen. You're doing your thing on ESPN. And a lot of your commentary sounds kind of passive aggressive, like, well, I could have whooped this dude's ass.
Yeah.
So, so that's going to garner discussion. So, but do I really think we're going to see Ward come back and target Canelo? As much as I would love that, no. I think Ward is very comfortable in retirement.
He can pay pretty well right now.
But I think Ward I think Ward does a lot of things within his own ego, and I think he has moments of doubt where he needs reassurance and validation that he's in effect still got it. And so I think he makes the statements, does the things that he does to have a little fun. And why not? You're retired. Boxing was something that you gave your life to and you love to do. And if you have a chance to have your name linked with the most popular, viable fighter in the game at that moment, who wouldn't have fun with it? Who wouldn't play with it? But I'm gonna get on the theoretical though. If I'm to be proven wrong on this and Ward comes back, if Ward came back in the game with at least 2 tune-ups and they fought at 175, I'm giving, I'm getting, Ward got that. That's my prediction, man. If it's a scenario where Ward came back with 2 tune-ups, 2 tune-up fights under his belt, and they fought at 175, there's no way I see Ward losing that. If it's anything where he comes back and comes down to 168, and has maybe 1 tune-up, or I don't think Ward would just his experience level, his acumen, and his in his business sense, there's no way he wouldn't come back without a tune-up.
Yeah, he would have to.
There's no way he would do that. But like if he had, like, let's say he came back and he had one good tune-up and he was like, yeah, I'll fight you at 168. I got to give the advantage to Canelo. Saying all that. I think right now, I think 168. That's Canelo's division right now, man.
Yeah.
And I think there's some dudes. Canelo is kind of like in a rock between a hard place, because in order for Canelo to get his full measure of respect, he's got to basically, from people who are dead set on not giving it to him, I don't think anything will ever be enough. But I think
because
for
people like Charlo,
and I'm gonna get into that, man. But I think there's always some people who have the reserved judgment, or the whataboutism that pervades in boxing or whatever. I think for some people, they're not, saying they're saying he has to go, his only real challenge is Better Biev at 175. And saying, that's when, if that's your challenge, that's the equivalent of like when Floyd was coming off, saying his biggest victories at 154. That's the equivalent of people saying, like, well, he needs to go to 168 and fight Ward. You know what I'm saying? That's that's basically like, saying when Roy Jones was doing his highlight, was doing his mixtape highlights at 168, 175, and somebody coming in, swooping in, saying, well, he needs to fight Holyfield. You know what I'm saying? I think that's kind of where it is right now. For the people who are suggesting that Canelo would have to fight Better Biev, as to basically to enter into the Chavez conversation, But I think realistically, we're the landscape at 168 right now is. There's no, there's not much form. There's not much form. I mean, there's some good people. There's some talented people in the division. There's some exciting fighters, but they're just definitely not at Canelo's level. Caleb Plant, we've all seen him. We all know he's an exciting and exhilarating fighter to watch. Great backstory, great human being, great mentality in the ring. He's not on Canelo's level. David Benavidez. As far as like stylistically and size wise, that's a person could give Canelo some fits, but there's some serious questions that got to be called in about Benavidez as far as the kind of life that he's living. You really have to examine these. Like, is David Benavidez really living a boxer's life right now? So that's his focus and his lifestyle would bring into questions as far as Canelo. But if he were able to answer those questions and get that together, I think that would be a very credible challenge at 168.
Yes, there's a lot of people that think that he can beat Canelo right now.
The thing is, when we look at what he just did to Caleb.
Yes.
Saying a dude, like, it's crazy seeing highlights of that fight, man, because of the size disparity. And saying, and the thing is, Caleb was a skilled dude, man. Caleb was not just, Caleb was not some cookie and crumpets and tea dude who came over from the UK. Like, Caleb was the universally recognized number one guy at 168. And Canelo dropped down to the division, and it was like Canelo dropped down, but he dropped down, but he went up too. Like, that was weird. But he entered into that division and basically just punished that man, bro. Like, so I mean, as far as I would say at the 168 landscape, I would say the person I think is going to pose the most questions of Canelo is his next matchup with being Billy Joe Saunders. You know what I'm saying? And Billy Joe Saunders, and a lot of people might scoff at that. Billy Joe Saunders is he's pretty much on his Tyson Fury thing. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
He's basically on that British gypsy traveler shit where, you know what I'm saying, he's going to fight. The show he is going to give you is going to be implicitly paired to the level of competition he's facing. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying, you can put a fucking obscure, shitty ass dude, or, you know what I'm saying, opponent, or with, you know, a mediocre record in front of Billy Joe Saunders, and he's going to look like a train wreck. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying, you put a Lemieux in front of him. You know what I'm saying? You put a Eubank in front of him, probably from back in the day. Or, you know what I'm saying, you pair him up with this biggest challenge, you know what I'm saying, a person we think is gonna ask a lot of hard questions of him, and he breezes through it. You know what I'm saying? They're in there and they're hitting air against him. You know what I'm saying? So I think I think if we look at Billy Joe Saunders' trajectory, um, you know, and what he looks like against certain looks he gets from certain varied degrees of competition, I think we might be prepared to see the very best Billy Joe Saunders in there against Canelo, because, you know what I'm saying, because of that slick southpaw style, that movement, those angles. But even in that, you know, where I personally think Billy Joe Saunders is probably going to be the toughest match, I think Canelo he's coming into that fight well prepared for that because of what he had to deal with against Islandi Lara, against Austin Trout, against, you know what I'm saying, you know, and against Floyd. You know what I'm saying, that adversity that he's had to face with those slick styles, with those dudes who weren't going to stand there and trade with him, or who were going to move a little bit, where he had to get on a bike and go chase them. You know what I'm saying, or he had to go after it and go get it, and put him, you know what I'm saying, put his own chin or put himself at risk. With Billy Joe Saunders, we already know he's not a power puncher, so the chin, you know what I'm saying, he can take that risk of going after him because, you know, we know that what's going to be coming back from Billy Joe Saunders isn't going to be all that dangerous.
Yep.
So, you know what I'm saying, as opposed to with Trout and Lara, where those dudes had, you know what I'm saying, those dudes had movement, those dudes were slick, they were southpaws, and they had hammers. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? So I think ultimately, Billy Joe Saunders is going to be it's going to be a situation where he's going to pose some questions that might be tricky for Canelo to figure out. I think Canelo just might go in there and just muscle that out, though. But I think, you know, I think even when he traverses what's being offered up or what's available for him between 168 and 175, I think Canelo's best matchups on the horizon are dudes who have not come to 168 yet. And I'm gonna name three fighters in that equation: Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade. I think, you know what I'm saying, I think if there's a guy, you know, if there's a guy in the future that shocks the world per se, and upsets Canelo and knocks him off the cart, you know what I'm saying, I can totally see it. I can totally see it being Boo Boo Andrade. Just because of that, you know, he's got that winky right. He's got that winky right in him. You know what I'm saying? I think that would be. I think Boo Andrade is nightmares for like 95% of the, you know what I'm saying, of the people in and around that area. I think the guy is just immensely talented. I think the guy has some business, you know, some things going on behind the scenes as far as the business end of boxing and those decisions that are being made that have hampered him. But I think Booba Andrade is the most dangerous guy for, you know what I'm saying, for Canelo on the horizon if that fight ever happens. Then obviously you have Jamal Charlo, just because of the, you know what I'm saying, the athleticism, the power. You know what I'm saying, the guy being young and strapping as he is. That, you know, that's a fight. That's, yeah. I think between the two, between Andrade and Charlo, I like Andrade to beat Charlo, so that's why I would say that you know, saying that that Andrade, the Boo Boo Andrade, would be the tougher opponent for Canelo. But, you know what I'm saying, stylistically, that could be a nightmare for Canelo as well, you know. And then the third name is, I say, because it's the guy who hasn't come to 168 yet, But it's got we've actually already seen Canelo win with Triple G. You know what I'm saying? Those are two very close fights. Um, and there's still unanswered questions. You know what I'm saying? I think where Triple G is right now, as far as how he's aged, and
Yeah,
and father time being undefeated, in the inevitability of that, I think I think Triple G doesn't pose the danger to Canelo that he's posed in the two previous fights, but it's one of those things we don't know, man, because he
yeah,
fought him so tough. He fought him so tough in those first two fights that there's still, it's you can't discount it. You can't discount it because you really have no evidence to go on. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, I went to New York. I saw the Rose fight, and you know what I'm saying, where he came back when after the from the two fights against Canelo,
hmm
came in with the new trainer. Um, and you know what I'm saying, me coming away from that fight was the first thing is like he's not going to beat Canelo like that, you know. And then we see the fight where against Daryuchenko where he was taking life and death.
yep.
And then we seen this latest fight where it's
Yeah,
he's returned
yeah, he looked a
to
little
form.
sharp.
You know what I'm saying? He returned to form, so it's just like, you know what I'm saying, he's he went in there and ate. So, it's one of those things that's I think out of those three names that I've named where the guys haven't come to 168 yet, I think Triple G, I think there's the least amount of questions in that matchup because we've seen those two fight again, fight against each other.
Mhm.
But even within that dynamic, there's still a lot of questions because those fights were close. You know, I think with Boo Boo and I think with Charlo, there's some glaring questions just because like we are yet to see anybody. We're yet to see Canelo fight anybody even close to being saying in on that ilk stylistically. So and those two guys, those are big. Those guys are big for they're big for middleweight. So,
Yeah,
I, now if and this is why I said earlier, Canelo's kind of in a rock and a hard place because even those two dudes are those guys, Charlo and Andrade, are immensely skilled, are very big, and can easily transition to 168. Um, People are going to look at that on paper and be like, oh, he's fighting middleweights.
yep.
You know what I'm saying? If those dudes, you know what I'm saying, as skilled and as dangerous as those dudes are, you know what I'm saying? Like Charlo and Andrade, like, I would say they coming in, and it's kind of crazy. Them being middleweights, them never fighting, having fought at super middleweight, they've got stronger chances of coming in and affecting, Canelo than the guys that are right there right now.
Yeah, I think that they would have to come like in order to erase that whole he's fighting middleweights thing. I think that they would have to come in and get one to two fights
Yeah.
before Canelo to where they are actively campaigning at that weight, and then you can't really say that anymore. Now, if
Yeah.
they just jump up straight
Yeah.
from middleweight to super and
Yeah,
fight,
they'd be like,
yep,
it's either he was just beating up middleweights, or they're saying if they come in and they do the unexpected, and they go and they fight the fights that they're capable of, and
hmm
and they get a decision against Canelo, or they want to fight, it's gonna be like, oh, Canelo wasn't that great because he got beat by a middleweight,
yeah. Even though, oh well, he gave up his 160 title, and they're like, oh, what? So either way, there's always, like you said, the what ifs. There's always something
The
that's
what if I call it what aboutism,
yeah. The what about what about when he was at 160 and he didn't? Well, what about this? Yeah, you exactly, man. Like that, they would have to be. They would have to have at least one to two fights before Canelo, before erasing that type of conversation from happening, because then they're actively campaigning at that super middleweight. But I agree that those would be great ones. And like you said, the behind the scenes stuff with Blue, that's one, and then everybody knows his talent. That's two. With what continues to hold that guy back, man. But I hope he does get a great fight, or even does get to come see Canelo sometime soon, man, because it's a shame with how his stuff is shaking out, man, overall. But great dude, great talent. Moving on from this one, man. Last topic. 6.18 million. Triller in the house, big dog. Triller. Hey, what I will say, one, Teofimo won. Teofimo won. But if we gonna get Triller, can we get Snoop Dogg back? Can we get the concerts? Can we get Snoop Dogg? They ain't gonna have it.
I have no issue with the concert, but Snoop Dogg's commentary, I can definitely do without that shit. No, Snoop, I love you, man. Stay in your lane, bro.
Hey, can you imagine him doing a real fight? Mama, they in the back fighting the kid. Oh shit, man! Hey, he would get them views up. I'll tell you that for sure.
Hey, for me, to be honest, man, and it's like I said, I love Snoop. You know what I'm saying? I'm from the West Coast. But Snoop's commentary, that was pretty much the straw that broke the camel's back in watching the Tyson, Jones fight, where I just had to decide. I was just like, man, I'm leaving. I had to get up and go, man. I was just like, this is already ridiculous, man. And I was just like,
man.
But
he had the reporters, he had everybody on ease, man. Maybe because they had a contact high or something, I don't know, but he had everybody chill out. Oh man, but no, Triller coming in with the big dog, the big dog, bid for Teofimo Lopez and Kambosos, man. That outbidding Top Rank, outbidding the Zone, way outbidding. Like they threw a major spade down on that one and said, "Let's go."
I mean, they outbid the man's own promoter by almost $4 million, man. That is crazy. That is crazy in and of itself, man. But congratulations to Teofimo, man. He the bag secured. Off a mandatory. But he took a very calculated gamble, and it paid off, man. And I'm happy for him. I know there's some people in some quarters that are borderline outraged that he's going to be making this amount of money for the to take this fight, but the thing he said, which was a very keen statement he made, is he said, I felt the offer was disrespectful, and we basically want to put this out there to see how the open market was going to value this fight. So you cannot be mad.
Yeah,
you can't be mad that there's an entity out there that wants to give him the money that he wants to give him, man. And the thing that's not being talked about in this narrative is George Kambosos is about to get $2.1 million, man.
Teofimo didn't even get that
we just saw George Kambosos go life and death in a straight fucking snoozer that should have been on Nickelodeon against Lee Selby. And this dude is about to get 2.1. But hey, shout out to George Kambosos. I know I know Brandon Griffith. He told us that he's plugged us in with a lot of people out in Australia, Asian Pacific, man. And he says our viewership is cracking out there, man. Hey, so everybody, on the islands, Tonga, Samoa, New Zealand, Australia, Papua New Guinea, wherever you at. Hey, shout out to George Kambosos, man. Shout out to all you guys for rocking with us. But George Kambosos is about to get 2.1 million. Wow. Wow. You know what I'm saying? That's great. He's, you know what I'm saying? It's a win. I feel it's a win for everybody. It's a win for everybody because ESPN does not have to invest the money or the resources into putting on the fight. Teofimo Lopez obviously is going to get, he's going to get the paycheck and, the pay that he's valued at. And, his thing was like, basically they were saying, oh, well, it's not worth that amount of money that you're asking for.
Okay.
Teofimo Lopez was coming in on the perspective of, okay, I just beat Lomachenko's ass. Lomachenko is still going to get $3 million for whoever he fights for, at this point, for the rest, the rest of the deal. He was just like, I'm just trying, I beat Lomachenko, man. I'm entitled to get the same money that him and Crawford are getting from ESPN.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And when you're making that demand, when you're locked into, basically a quote unquote slave deal, that it's really in you, and you have a promoter and a network entity that are very keen to stick with the script as far as what they're paying you. If they're paying you as peanuts, he was just like, that's basically him asserting himself and being like, nah. So, ESPN, they don't have to pay the money they don't want to pay to put the fight together. Teofimo Lopez gets, he gets what he is valued at. He's going, he made like, I think it was like 1.25, something between 1.25 and 2 million to fight Lomachenko. Now he's going to get 4 million. 4.1, 4 point something to fight Kambosos. So basically, he feels like he's making that up on the back end. The money he should have got, his, the real cut of the purse he should have got against Lomachenko. He feels he's like, all right, I'm gonna get, that's what was owed to me. Kambosos, on the come up, I just talked about how pedestrian he looked against Selby or whatever. But hey, George Kambosos, man, a guy who has fought, to get to the mandatory position or whatever, man. He gets a change of life fight.
Yep.
He gets to change his life. He gets to change. He off that automatically. His situation for him and his family is automatically elevated, and he is good. He's basically, his craft is going to pay off. Everything he worked on, from the point to where he aspired to do this in the gym as a kid to getting this fight and fighting this mandatory position. Dreams come true, man. Hard work really does pay off. You know what I'm saying? As far as top rank, and Bob Arum, they still got to get a promotional cut. They're going to get, I think, so whatever 20% of 4 million is, which is a few, which is a six figures, it's a few $100,000. Bam, they're getting, they're getting that. So to the people who are saying that, it's an outrage or that this flies in the face of, whatever notion you believe in, as far as, what you feel Teofimo is worth or what he should be getting paid, everybody won. So in Triller, they've invested the money that they're investing in it because they believe that Teofimo is going to be viable enough to be on this card and to add and to provide value for money. For the people. Like, as a fan though, I'm kind of in a weird place on this because am I really gonna want to see an influencer fight? Am I really gonna want to pay the money on on Triller or on this pay-per-view, whatever pay-per-view platform they're gonna be on, to see an influencer fight when I'm really not into that, when I really just want to see Teofimo, and is Teofimo versus George Kambosos worth, is that a pay-per-view worthy? No. So that's why it's going to be it's going to be the co-feature. It's like, am I going to want to pay for the feature, which is probably going to be an influencer fight between two clowns and just to see this fight. So, I mean, that kind of puts the fans in an awkward position. So I would say everybody wins. Are the fans going to win in the end? I don't know.
It's gonna be commercials brought to you by Legends League.
Where there's a will, there's a way. And the thing is, I'm like the last person to condone streaming. I'm one of those boxing fans. Like, I don't. It's like, now we got to support these events and shit. Like, I'm probably gonna find a stream. I'm just letting the public know I'm probably gonna find a stream, man.
Yeah, man. Hey, well, again, big come up for both. It was a big win, and like I said, I got a feeling they're gonna be pushing. You're gonna see some Legend League stuff somewhere out in that place, or going across the screen. Like they getting in the game. They threw that card down, hard to get that fight, and there's there's more where that came from for sure. I don't think that this is going to be the last time that we're going to see something like this from Triller. And yeah, I can't wait to see where.
And there's a question that's begging to be explored within this. You know what I'm saying? It's like, all right, we've pretty much we've hailed and we've stood Teofimo Lopez up as the millennial champ. You know what I'm saying? The millennial, this new era. You know what I'm saying? This generation Y. You know what I'm saying? Or
Right.
generation. You know what I'm saying? He is now there. He is their champ. He has brought millennialism into boxing or whatever. Was this his flex all along? You know what I'm saying? With the black flips, with you know what I'm saying, with the with the whole
the Fortnite and all of that.
Was he seeing, you know what I'm saying? I'm thinking now, man, it's like, was he seeing the, you know what I'm saying, the game, you know what I'm saying? Was he seeing it way down the line? We may never know, you know what I'm saying? Or we might just have, you know, maybe nobody has asked him or whatever. But it seems like how things are unfolding. And the flex that he's been on since he entered the game, this was viable, man.
Yeah, man. Hoo-wee. Great episode, dude. Hey,
Absolutely.
held it down. Hey, shout out to Aaron. You know, working it in the comments. Hey, man, we missed you all. Absolutely gonna have to get you back on next time. Shout out to Michael Gomes, MG. You know, hope all is well, man. And shout out to Eddie Sanchez, Leander Futura. Go ahead, hit that. Go ahead.
Leander Futura,
yeah.
El Dorado. Hey,
yes, sir.
Hey, man. He's not going nowhere, man. But it's like I miss him already, man. You know, what I'm saying? He was just for me. He was just what he personified in boxing, man. Was just so pure and refreshing, man. And it's kind of sad that we're not going to be able to get a taste of that anymore, man. But I'm so happy, man. He's going to his wife and his kids, they get him all to themselves now, man. And but at the same time, it's not it's on to the next chapter, man. And I can't wait to see what it's hitting for Eddie, man. I know he's heavily involved with his community in the Central Valley. And he's a big advocate of the issues that many people are facing, challenges that they're facing out in the Central Valley, man. So, I can see him doing all that, man. You know, saying that the advocacy part, the mentorship for the youth, being an advocacy for the water rights, kind of like what Jose Ramirez has done. The causes of migrant workers, immigrants, and stuff like that, man. I definitely think and that's why I'm going to continue to call him Leander Futura, man, because I think I think this was just a stepping stone, as you know, and I think Eddie is definitely destined to do some great things and to make a lot of noise, man. Not only out there in the Central Valley, California, man, but I definitely think we're going to continue to see him spread his voice to the world, man, in whatever he endeavors to do next, man. And we wish him all the best of luck in that, man.
Yes, sir. 100%, man. Shout out Eddie Sanchez. Absolutely.
And shout out to Arnie Caballero.
Yes.
For basically bringing him to the plate, you know what I'm saying, with us in the pound for pound movement and the group, man. Shout out to my boy down in Mexico, Devon McLaughlin, you know what I'm saying, who's been instrumental with, you know what I'm saying, helping us put things together. And, as it concerned with Eddie Sanchez and just basically just getting on the road with us, out there to support him. Shout out to Eddie's mom, you know what I'm saying, and his wife and his kids, and everybody out there from Corcoran to Hanford to Larry to Lemoore, everybody.
Jason Glaspie.
Hey, Jason Glaspie. You know what I'm saying? Everybody who was rocking out with them in the gyms out there, like basically that whole movement, man. That's it's crazy thing. There's a lot of people think on the surface, it was just like, hey, small town kid, turning pro, trying to see what he could do in the professional ranks or whatever, man. But like if you were on the ground to see that, man, it was a whole damn movement, man. They got behind it, man. So it's like every time we saw Eddie get off the canvas, man, it was not only he getting off the canvas in that ring, but it was just, they literally the spirits of all these people who were behind him, man, and were in the ring with him, man, just lifting him up and carrying him to victory in there, man. And basically every punch he threw, you know what I'm saying, he's throwing it for the greater good, man. So it was just, man, for me, it was just an honor, man. And it was just really, it was just really exciting. It's a blessing in my life to be able to witness Eddie do his thing in there, man.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man. Shout out. Also, shout out to everybody that was in the comments. Shout out to Clarence McLean Promotions. Shout out to Ken Davis. That was absolute wonderful.
Classy
Yes, classy dude jumping in here. Shout out for rocking with us. But also for showing love to Eddie, man, and telling him, hey, if you can get back in, get at 130, and you're gonna do damage. So. That's wonderful stuff, man. Episode 65, sir. In them books.
In the books.
Hey,
thanks for rocking with me this evening, or shit out here this morning.
Yeah, there's more for you.
Hey, man. Hey, always a pleasure. Always a blessing, bro.
Yes, sir. Hey, Standing A Podcast, episode 65. We out.